It's time to go. Okay, how many, what type of joke is this, man? Literally, I've had like 100 black games in a row. The people are starting to really complain on this channel. Guys, I want to be clear, it's not me that's doing this. It's literally, you can thank chess.com for giving me black every single game in rapid chess. Not making this up, I've literally had like one white game out of the past 100 black games. Maybe, okay, that might be an exaggeration, but it's close though. Someone is almost playing the bird against us, but it's slightly different. It's just missing the most important um, thing. All right, we'll play e6 here. Bishop d6. Just play normal. d4. That's... I'm not really sure about that. We could definitely take. Yeah, this is weird. Let's take here. I don't want to allow this bishop to open up. We'll play bishop d6 here. I guess he's going to try knight e5, but I have knight takes in these positions. We do have to be a bit careful about this. This is like a reverse Carlsbad. His pawn is on the wrong square, though, on b3. My bishop should be outside of the pawn chain, though. So both sides have a slightly inferior version. The question is, whose side is going to be worse off? All right, let's play knight b4 here. Attack this bishop. I need to try to trade the bishops off. Maybe knight b4 might have just been a waste of time, honestly. Yeah, I think it was definitely a waste of time now that I think about it, because he's just going to play c3. All right, yeah, let's play rook e8 here. I'm going to try to break with e5 as soon as possible. All right, we'll play knight c6. Try to push for e5. c4. Very weird stuff coming. Let's take here, give him the hanging pawns. e5, I have 1, 2, 3. He has 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're going to be hanging something there. Not the right time to do that yet. Let's play queen c7. Really want to play e5 here. This is classic hanging pawns strategy. You want the pawns to be split up somehow. You want them to at least align on one color or another. Then it's going to be very easy to blockade them and ultimately begin to target them. Let's play b6 here. Just restrict his c5 ideas. What's bro doing? I'm hoping this queen moves somewhere. I'm hoping it moves somewhere like b3, so then after e5, d5, I can get a tempo with knight a5. I want that tempo. There. That is interesting stuff. Okay, if we take... This bishop is still awful, man. It's just, this is a really bad piece. If I take here, no, that leaves my knight looking really bad. Yeah, what is the plan here? Let's just put the rook on d8. Maybe, oh, it should have been this rook that moved to d8. Yeah, guys, I'm a little flustered. I'm very frustrated by the fact that chess.com will not give me a white game with rapid. We might have to switch over to Lee Chess at some point because it's like I want to make content on their website, but if they just keep giving me black every single game, how am I supposed to make content on their website? You know what I mean? It's just it's like a classic catch-22. Okay, we'll play bishop c8 slowly, starting to fix everything. I got a pin here. Bishop is going to come to b7. Slowly, everything is getting fixed. This rook is still misplaced, though. This rook should be over here. There. I don't think that does anything. That does a lot. We need to be very careful here. h6. Maybe I'm just losing here. I could play rook e7. I could play rook e7. I don't think he has anything there. Yeah, bro doesn't have anything just yet. It looks very risky, but he does not have anything. I'm just going to kick the knight out and then start chopping down this knight. We got to get rid of this knight. Am I missing something? Like, what is he doing? I'm just going to play h6. I guess he has some trick coming. I don't see the trick. If he checks, I can even go here. Then takes, check. I go here. Yeah, he doesn't have anything there. Looks scary, no doubt, but he doesn't have anything. Yeah, this is definitely the moment of truth. He's definitely going to take his time to think about this one. Like, what does he have here? He has to try for something. If he has to retreat, he's not going to have anything. If he retreats, I'm actually not sure what I would do exactly there, but I could at least do something like takes and then start transferring this knight over. That's one possible plan. There are a bunch of possible plans, honestly, though. Yeah, it'd be really great if chess.com could give me a game with white. I think, yeah, I've literally recorded like 10 of these videos in the past 2 weeks, and at least 8 of them have been games with black. This is a travesty. A travesty of chess justice. Knight takes f7. Okay, I don't know what he's doing, but I'm not going to question it. I have no idea why he would do that. I guess he's going to try to win this pawn here. But that, yeah, okay, he's going to try to win this pawn, but ultimately, though, it's just, I just don't believe in it. We could definitely, yeah, let's take here. Let's keep our queen and bishop eyeing this pawn here. That's really critical. Gotta get my coffee. Okay, bro takes on e6. I must be missing something. This just looks completely hopelessly lost for him. Here we could take on d4. I guess he's going to try queen f5. That seems to be his only idea. Queen f5. Should we start with knight e7 then? Knight e7 actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, knight e7 though, rook e1. That's tricky. I guess I could take. So if we take on d4, takes, I don't like queen f5 in that situation. That's my main problem. Queen f5 is my main issue there. Knight takes, bishop takes, rook takes, queen f5. I have bishop c8. No, then he takes on f6 with a check. That's dangerous. I could play rook f4 there, actually, though. That wouldn't... No, rook f4, he mates. Yikes, this is getting a little dangerous. Let's start by kicking his rook out. Let's play bishop c8. Kick the rook out first, see where the rook goes, and then from there, we'll find something else to do. The problem with bishop c8, though, now... Oh, he could just take here. Well, no, takes. I have knight g4. Yeah, I made a blunder, guys. I just completely made a blunder. Okay, there. Yeah, this is a blunderfest. Let's take here. Yeah, so the problem with this move, among other things, like I was just realizing that he had rook takes e6. The problem with this move also is that he can now play g3 to trap my bishop, but that would incur serious weaknesses on his light scores, though. So I'm not certain if I have to be worried about that. Gotta watch out for this, though. That's for true. Yeah, if he gives me time to reroute, I should be completely winning. Okay, he's playing for checkmate. Dude's got one goal on mind, and it's checkmate. Play rook d8 here? Yeah, let's play rook d8. He could play g3. I'll play queen c6, king h2, and knight g4, and then queen g6. No, that's this is tricky stuff. Could I play bishop g4? Yeah, what is the plan here? This is a mess. I could play no, knight g4. Do not play knight g4. Cannot play knight g4 here. What are we doing? Yeah, wait. So bishop g4, queen e3, that doesn't really do anything. What if I take? I would have assumed I had something here, but maybe I don't. The whole problem with queen c6, king h2, knight g4, king g1 is that after I take, he plays queen e7, and he's still getting a fork. Yeah, what is this? Dude, what is going on here? How do I get rid of this bishop? This bishop, I'm realizing now, it's this bishop which is causing me all these pains. We get rid of we solve the bishop, we solve the problem. Okay, takes, cannot take with the queen because of queen e7. We could throw in a check, he plays king h2. Dude, ultimately it's this bishop, man. This bishop is like public enemy number one. We need to get this bishop out. We could get this bishop out, we'll be in business. How do I get the bishop out? It shouldn't be this difficult to get one bishop out. How do we get it out though? I can't play knight g4 because of queen e8. I mean we could take here, but I don't want to do that though. That's not a nice position. All right, I'm gonna just take here and start throwing in checks, and hopefully something happens here. But it's this is not looking good, people. Something's gone awry in this position. This bishop here is incredible. I have nothing, literally nothing to do here. Yeah, how is he gonna stop these checks though? That's what I was wondering. I guess he'll play queen e3. Yeah, queen e3 is a good move. I think I'm just losing on the spot here. I'm gonna take. Yeah, I had to trade queens, I think. Let's play bishop a6. Try to get my bishop out. This is just coming down to the wire. I don't know what's happening. If he tries this, I could take on c4. There. Yeah, let's play rook c8. Just target this pawn. Still my knight covering this. As uncomfortable as this is, it looks like I'm holding on here. He plays bishop d3. I could, no, b5, c5. That's not going to be good. Gotta just stay patient, wait for my opportunity. Gotta stay humble, stay grounded. Yeah, it's going to be a glorious day when chess.com gives me a game with white. Okay, there. Can't I just take? He's going to play rook e7, but it's actually not that scary. Yeah, because he doesn't, my bishop, all my pieces are covering everything. There. I'll play b5. He could play rook e7 if he wants. I don't think that's that big a deal. Like, look at this. He takes here. Even then, he doesn't have any threats. I guess then he would be threatening rook f7. Here I could play rook b8. Could also try bishop. Is bishop d5 good? Yeah, let's play bishop d5. This is a mess. This is a mess. This is a complete mess. I'm looking at this now. If he plays rook a7, I can play knight g4, and all of a sudden I'm playing for mate as well. Don't ask me what's going on, guys. This bishop is superb, though, now. This bishop completely cancels out the problems of this other bishop. It's the tale of two bishops. The Charles Dickens novel. I never read that. I Spark Notes it. It's supposed to be a beautiful story. The last chapter of the Spark Notes had me in tears, but I've always meant to read that book. That book is really good. Or so I've heard. Rook c7, okay. If I take here, yeah, let me just take and play b4. He doesn't have anything now. Pawn is getting to b3. It's going to be very hard for his bishop to target it. Once my pawn gets to b3, his bishop cannot target it easily. Right, like how is it his bishop would only be able to target it from d1 or a4, neither of which is easy for it to access. Oh, he can't even put the rook behind the pawn. Yeah, this is getting very tricky for him. Yeah, let's get the king out. I gotta get the king to help out. If he plays rook c7, I'll just play king d6, and if he takes whatever, we'll deal with that later. We've got more important fish to fry. Let's put the king c5. I don't have time for king c5. Let's play king e5. Do not want to let the king into the cabbage patch. Can't let the king in on the high ground. All right, we'll play b3 here. This is very tricky for him. It's astounding that no matter how bad my position is in the middle game, somehow or another I always get to these end games where I have a lot of chances. Where I have a lot of chances and a lot of tricks. Dude, this guy's in a lot of trouble here. This is very dangerous. King d3, I have knight e4. Right here, let's play knight g4. I guess he could play king d3. Let's play knight f6, though. Let's ask him what he's doing. I guess he could play rook e2 and then king d4. Maybe he's making some headway. There, I was hoping for that, though. Now we play knight e4. This is great. Taking with the king here. He's in a lot of trouble now. Bro's definitely in the dragon's den. The only thing I need to do is I need to make sure that I keep both these pawns on the board. I cannot let his rook grab one of these pawns here. Yeah, let's play g5. Just start pushing the pawns up. Oh, he could have played rook h2. That was really silly of me. I should not have allowed rook h2. There. Yeah, we'll play h5. How am I gonna... Oh, well, here do we have b2? Yeah, what is the plan after b2? b2, he's going to have to play rook d1. Yeah, this is a mess. I really wish I could calculate. I really wish I could calculate, but I can't. Okay, so we'll play bishop e6 here. I'm going to play king f6. I'm just going to triangulate a bit. Waiting for... Well, that's a really bad move. That's just... Oh, wait, actually, wait. Can I play... What is this position? Okay, we're going to just... I'm going to go for this. I don't know if this works or not. This is, this is such a mess. I think this is winning. Okay, well, now this has to be winning because now he's not even getting a pawn off the board. There. Let's play bishop d5. Threatening h2. He has to play king g1. Now, oh, well, no, I can't play g4 yet. Let's play king e5. There. g4 takes, bishop e4, rook g5, bishop f5. I have b2 coming, but it's not... No, that's not... Yeah, let's just play bishop e6 here. All right, this is over. This is definitely over. Yeah, bishop covers everything. Nice. That was a wild game. Yeah, let's see what's happening here. This is a wild game, though. Look at that graph. Look at that graph. I still got 89.1, though. Dude, 89.1, I'll take that. It's definitely time to go. All right. So knight f3, knight f6. We got all this. This is standard stuff. I don't want to talk too much about the opening because it's not that relevant to our channel. Like, we'll almost rarely get this. This is technically this is like a Carlsbad reversed, and my bishop should be over on this side of the board if I wanted to play for an advantage. In this position, I should be a little worse. I probably have to play for e5 sooner or later. Like, computer is saying I should play queen c7 at some point for that exact reason. So I played knight b4. That felt inaccurate. I wasn't really sure what to do, though. I thought probably just queen c7. Then apparently he plays c4, though, and now he's much better. So what is the idea of b6? c4? Knight e7? No, I transfer my knight over. Interesting. Yeah, I transfer my knight over. My bishop is going to come to c6 so that I can take. And yeah, it was really critical that I get this bishop to this diagonal as soon as possible. We saw that in the game, actually, where it just took me a really long time to fix this bishop. Yeah. Yeah, like, my opponent played an interesting game, and I do want to give him credit. This system here, this is very close to a bird. It's very close to a bird, just it's missing f4, and because it's missing f4, though, they have options of d4, and the positions that followed are very interesting. They're a tiny bit unorthodox, and unless you're playing a really experienced opponent, this type of system is very potent. This type of system could easily score wins if you're playing White's position here. And as evidenced by this game, like, White was able to give me a lot of problems here. Yeah, rook e8, I wasn't sure about that. I should have just played b6 here, because the idea now is that if c4, he's never going to be able to play c5 here and advance. His queenside majority is always going to be a bit restricted by the fact that I have my b pawn here. All right, so rook e8 here. I thought I was definitely a little worse, but I didn't think it was the end of the world. Yeah, I probably have to be more humble, but just as a GM, I think that I'm always going to be able to wing it. Like, I pretty much figure that no matter how much trouble I'm in, I'm always going to be able to just sort of wing it, get out of the danger, and score the W. Okay, so knight bd2, b6. Yeah, I'm a little worse here. He should play rook c1. Knight e5 also makes sense, though. I don't think knight e5 is that bad. I disagree with what the computer says. Here, knight f3, bishop c8, bishop d3. Dude, what is this beeping, man? There's just random beeping in my apartment. It's very bizarre. Yeah, okay, so I played bishop b7 here. Bishop b7 is a big mistake. What should I have done? h6, yeah, I should have stopped this idea. I didn't realize how dangerous this position was getting. Bishop b7, knight g5, rook e7. Yeah, if I play, computer's saying I could have played h6, but come on, who would ever want to play this position? I've just lost a critical pawn, e6 this week. I guess the silver lining is that in some positions I might be able to trap this knight, but ultimately, like, come on, what are we talking about here? I have to play rook e7. Dude, knight g4. Uh-oh. Yeah, knight g4, I'm in a lot of trouble here. Takes, takes. These bishops are shooting through. And actually, yeah, he doesn't even have to take back. He's going to take here first and then take. This is completely winning. He's going to play queen h5, shoot at my king. I literally have nothing to do here. It's time to go. Yeah. A really critical problem in this position is that my knight is just so misplaced on c6 here. I'm only really processing this now. For those of you who don't know, I used to play queen pawn openings, so I used to know the structure pretty well, but it's been like literally a few years of me playing the bird now, and so I don't know the structure on as familiar a basis as I once did. This knight is really misplaced here. This knight should be on d7. Like, I would bet if I just tinker with the position a little, that this should be, yeah, this would be fine now if I had my knight reinforcing it, right? The whole issue was that this knight on c6 was misplaced. This structure is very unique. The structure is called the hanging pawn structure. You're only really going to get it. You're only really going to get it if you play queen pawn openings, pretty much. If you play queen pawn or if you play queen's gambit declined, would you ever get this type of position? And yeah, so for a lot of people who watch this channel, you're likely never going to get this structure. But generally speaking, though, it's good to know. Your knight should go to d7 here. It should not be on c6. It's just blocking the bishop here, and it's also not reinforcing the knight against their kingside melee. All right, so dude played queen c2. I played h6. I kicked the knight out. I thought I was winning here, but I missed what to do. Okay, I'm supposed to take and then play. Interesting. And now I just take here. Yeah, this makes a crucial difference. Look at this. So I'm leaving his knight on the board. I'm not up material, but on the flip side, he doesn't have any threats here. He's not getting a few tempi to play bishop g6, rook e6, and queen e2 with checkmate. And because of this, his knight is also trapped here. I didn't even realize that. But yeah, if he tries to hold on to the knight, I'm just going to play something like rook g4, double down. Yeah, this is just the end of the game. Look at this. We got too many pieces pointed at his kingside here. I guess he has to try f3, but then we just go to h4. His dark squares are a lot weaker now that he's pushed this. This is completely winning. We'll play check, check, something like that. The game has to be over. So I took, which is a mistake. He checks. I took here. Apparently that's a mistake. Got lots of mistakes. Yeah, I should play bishop c8 first. I had the right idea, but I did it in the wrong order. Because now after this, he can just take here. And I completely missed this. Takes, takes. I thought I had check initially, but this bishop is defended here. I have nothing. I'm just down a really critical pawn here. Yeah, I'm going to have to scrounge something here. So dude played rook e1. I took. Apparently that's a miss. I should have played knight e7. I should have gone for this light squared bishop. Yeah, knowing what I know now, knowing about the suffering that I was to endure later, this bishop is really critical. We need to get rid of this bishop because then it's not slicing through here. I don't have to worry about rook e8. Sure his knight, his queen could end up filling the void. Okay, actually the computer says I'm not supposed to take here just yet. But sure this queen would be filling the bishop's void to some extent, but the difference is now his queen can't do anything else active. His queen won't be able to threaten a lot of things down the e-file. It won't be able to pin my knight. It's just a critical piece that wanted to do other things, and now it's stuck doing the role of the bishop, of slicing through the light squares. Yeah, this would be completely winning. All right, so dude played rook e1. I took on d4. He took. I took. Played queen e2. Yeah, this position is tricky. g3, I didn't know what to do here. I just took, and I hoped that I was doing something. Yeah, I have nothing else here. Like, if I check here, check. I wanted to do this, but the problem is he just checks and he takes my rook, and then he's going to take the bishop as well. This is just completely hopeless. Yeah, so I took. I realized my bishop is going to be lost, so at least I tried to ruin his kingside. Threw in a check. Apparently, I'm just supposed to play king g8. That's a very hard move to find. King g8 makes a lot of sense, though. My king is a little bit safer here. He still has ideas of back rank checkmates, but at least now I don't need to worry about queen e7, queen takes d8 stuff. In long term, I can put my rook on f8. Yeah, that's what the computer is saying. Look at that. If queen e3 here, for instance, rook f8. I have a very healthy setup. His king is ultimately a bit weak. Computer is now changing its mind and saying it's inaccurate. I don't care what the computer says on chess.com. Yeah, this is a very interesting position now. His king is ultimately a little weak. I have an extra pawn. I have good control of everything. My knight is stable. My bishop is going to do fantastic from b7. Ultimately, this position has to be around equal, and the computer agrees. All right, so I threw in a check. I just started checking. Man played queen e3. Now apparently I'm losing. Now apparently I'm losing. I thought I had tricks, though. I didn't think this was that bad. Dude played rook ce1. He should have played, what, a4? Interesting. a4, and what is the plan here? Well, yeah, if I take... Now he plays rook ce1, and this is going to be very strong now. I'd have to play rook c8 here. He plays rook e7, bishop c4, and what's the difference? He could take this pawn here. This pawn isn't hanging in the other position. Yeah, that's a critical difference here. So yeah, in this position he does this, I take, he plays rook e7, but now I have time for a5. Computer's saying I should play bishop d5. That makes some sense. If takes, I can play... I was going to say I should play rook a8, but no, rook c3. Look at that, my bishop covers this. Dude does not have any checkmates here. I'm going to score this last pawn here. And once I score the pawn... Yeah, once I score this pawn, I think I actually have plenty of chances. I don't think it's going to be simple for either player here. This is just going to be a mess. This is a complete mess. He could drill the rooks in, but that doesn't do anything. I'm just going to take and then win the bishop. Yeah, this is a complete mess. I played a5. I thought a5 was natural. I'm going to use the excuse that I was low on time here. Dude played rook b7. I played b5, rook e7. That is such a natural move, but it's inaccurate. He should play rook c1 here. Rook c1 is a fantastic move. Look at that. He's threatening rook takes b5 here. And if I try to get out of the way, then he's going to play a4 and undermine my pawn and bishop here. Of course, I can't take because then the bishop would hang. But the contrary is also... What is it? What am I thinking of? The converse also wouldn't be good either, because he's going to take here and not only getting a pawn, but more importantly, getting a passed pawn that he could start throwing down the board. This is going to be too tough. So rook e7... Yeah, bro made a mistake. He plays rook e7. I play bishop d5, rook c7. Now this should be fine for me. Yeah, I was already starting to get optimistic here because I thought definitely this position could be winnable. I have two pawns. He still has an extra exchange, but I have two pawns. I need to be very careful though to not allow him to trade off all the pawns. So something like this happens. I just keep waiting around. We get this, and computer's saying that this is all zeros. This is starting to get very tricky for him, though. If I'm ever able to trade off this pawn for this one and get these two runners with supported by my bishop and with his king far away, that's going to be a very easy win. So he plays rook d2, I do this. Yeah, g5 ultimately, computer doesn't think that that's a mistake. In terms of allowing a draw, it's a big mistake because now he can play rook h2. Something like this, takes, rook d6, and he could just start pushing my bishop around the board. He's just going to keep on attacking my bishop forever and ever. Yeah, already here now I'm going to have to give up the g-pawn. Look at that. If bishop d5, then rook f5, and bishop g8, rook g6. And one way or another, he's getting the g-pawn. It's going to be a dead draw. Like, obviously here, he only has one pawn left that he has to deal with. He can sacrifice his rook for it if he really wants. Yeah. So wait, no. So yeah, I should not have played g5 here. Instead, I should have played, I don't know, something like king e5. I should have just kept waiting around and waiting for the right time to start advancing these. I want to advance these, but I don't want to let him just force off a trade of pawns immediately. If he's going to trade off pawns, he better be trading off this one, so I have two connected passers on the king side. All right, so rook d4 here, h5, bishop e6, king f6. I'm just waiting around. Yeah, and then... So bro played king d4. He should have just left his king there, because then his rook is keeping an eye on this. This actually still gets a little tricky, though. Look at that. Rook b4, king g5. He better start attacking my bishop. That's the key to him getting a draw here. He needs to attack my bishop as soon as my king moves. Because if he does something like this, I could play h4, and now all of a sudden this is starting to get tricky. Technically, it's still a draw. He could still just continue harassing my bishop around, but if he does something like this and wastes a little bit more time, apparently even here, it's still a draw here after rook d6. Look at that. That's crazy. g2 takes, g1 queen, but then he's going to check. He's going to check, skewer, collect the queen, and then collect this last pawn to still make a draw. So it seems that no matter what, this position is always a draw. But it's tricky, and with low time, there's plenty of ways for him to make a mistake. This is one of those situations in which the computer is just so discernibly different from what a human game would look like, right? Like in this position, I would assume like 70%, maybe not 70%, but black could score at least 60% from here. There are a lot of ways that white could lose this. It's not simple at all, especially if you throw in time trouble to the equation. Black has a lot of winning chances here. king d4, I pushed h4. Yeah, he should be trading. He should be trading here. And this position should be a draw, but man, this is going to be tricky for him. This is going to be very tricky for him. Like king g3, I don't know what I'll do. I'll probably play something. Well, okay, actually look at that. I have no way to improve. If I play king d5, I hang this pawn. I could play king d6, he'll throw in a check. Yeah, my bishop is tied to this. This was the key. He needed to tie down my bishop and this pawn. I can't do anything here. I could never improve my bishop because then I'm just going to be hanging this h pawn here. Yeah. So this would have been the way to draw, but like just to prove my point though, let's say he plays rook b5 and does something like this. This is starting to get a little dangerous. Like already here, I could think about playing bishop c4 and bishop b5 in some positions. Like for instance, if he plays something like rook e8 here, bishop c4, rook b8, bishop b5, this is starting to get a little precarious. Apparently even here, this is still a dead draw, which is pretty shocking. I would have assumed that now. This position looks very close to lost now. It's a testament to the human spirit that even now white can still draw this. It all has to do with the activity of his rook. He's just going to do this and start peppering me with checks. All right, so anyway, so Bro played king e3. This is a big mistake because now he's leaving these 2 extra pawns on the board. And the 2 extra pawns on the board makes a big difference. With the 2 extra pawns on the board, it means his rook can never sacrifice his rook to get rid of my 2 pawns because there's still going to be a pair of pawns on the board then. So king e3, h3, bishop d5, king g1, king e5, king h2, bishop e6. Apparently I'm supposed to play king d6 here. If takes what? King c5? That's beautiful. Look at that. If he takes here, if I take, it's going to be a draw, but I can throw in this check. His king has to step away or block his own path. And then, of course, this is winning. And what happens if rook goes to b8? Then I throw in a check. He plays g4. I play bishop c4, and I'm going to play bishop b5. Yeah, he has no time. If he plays rook g8, I'm going to play b2, rook b8. Oh, sorry, I could even just take here. What am I talking about? Yeah. Yeah, he can't even play rook g8 because I'm going to take here. So he has to play something like king g3, but bishop b5. He's going to have to check. King b4, rook c1, b2, rook b1, king c3, king f3. And yeah, this is just completely hopeless. I could just play bishop d7 here. Tie his king down to the pawn. His king can never really make a break for this because if he ever does, I always have time to take and get my bishop out of the way to secure the pawn. And of course, this is winning. I'm going to play king c2, queen this pawn, and get him to sacrifice for the rook. All right. So in the game, I played bishop e6. Here, once I cement the pawn, this position is just completely hopeless. And yeah, the rest is history. So look at that, guys. We broke 2,600.
Time to go!